RPR 180 Literary Practice Test. Ready? Here we go. My journey as a videographer for the legal profession began in 1984. I was the controller of a medium-sized law firm at the time. While walking past the conference room one day, I noticed that there was a deposition going on that was being videotaped, and I decided to sit in on it. Photography and videography have always been my passion, so I tried to absorb everything that I saw taking place. After taking it all in, I noticed many small things that, in my opinion, weren't done or weren't handled properly. Some of the quality aspects appeared to be questionable. It was then that I realized that with some further exposure, I could be a legal videographer and do it better. Once the deposition concluded, I spoke to the videographer and chatted about my photography and video experiences. He suggested I shadow him to learn more about the finer points of being a deposition videographer and be exposed to the formalities of what was expected on a video deposition. After a few days of being a shadow, I felt I could do this work on my own. I took the plunge and left my job to pursue a new career. I started by doing overflow work for this company. As I became more proficient, I was introduced to others and began assisting them as well. Slowly but surely, I began to develop my own client base. Since I started, I have videotaped more than 4,000 depositions here in the United States, as well as numerous depositions abroad. My work has taken me to Japan, Korea, South Africa, West Africa, Venezuela, Cuba, Peru, Mexico, Jamaica, and Panama, as well as many small, interesting, out-of-the-way places. The following are insights that I have developed from my many experiences. Not all depositions taken in foreign countries require interpreters. However, all the depositions that I have worked on in Asia and South America with witnesses speaking languages other than English have had two interpreters. One is called the official interpreter and the other is called the check interpreter. When there is a question regarding an interpretation of a witness's testimony, the two interpreters consult with each other and try to come to a resolution. Many times that isn't an easy task. If the two interpreters cannot reach an agreement, the asking attorney may be required to re-ask or rephrase the question. While the ultimate design of the room setup rests with the attorney taking the deposition, I have drawn a couple of room setups that I like to use and have worked with successfully. The following designs are not written in stone and can be altered to fit your individual needs. Diagram 1, the attorney taking the deposition is sitting directly across the table from the witness, with the witness's attorney to his left. The interpreters are to the witness's right. The court reporter is at the head of the table. On occasion, the court reporter may have difficulty hearing or understanding the testimony. I always have a headset available for the court reporter to use. The headset is an excellent and easy tool to provide. Diagram 2, the attorney taking the deposition is still directly across the table. However, the witness's attorney and interpreters have switched sides. Diagram 3, this setup has its primary shot along the length of the table. The witness is at one end of the table, the videographer at the other end of the table, the attorney taking the deposition, and the two interpreters on one side of the table, and the court reporter and defending attorney on the opposite side. This typically is the most common setup. If given the choice, I always opt to use diagram 1. This way, the taking attorney has the best eye contact with the witness. It is important to remember that 95% of all communication is unspoken. When traveling, I bring everything that I would use or need just as if I was working from my home base. Never forget that there isn't a Radio Shack around the corner. In the event that you are covering a deposition at a U.S. embassy or consulate, it is customary that an embassy or consulate officer swear in the witness. Should you have depositions that are held in hotels or in other law firms' offices, it is customary to have the taking attorney read a brief statement about the taking of the deposition, about the court reporter swearing in the witness for the deposition at that location. All parties must agree to the stipulation on the record. When you are performing depositions in other countries, the electricity capabilities vary from country to country. You must always be aware of the various voltages and frequency cycles. There are many countries that use 110 volts like we have in the United States, but they do not use the third plug, also known as the ground, so be sure to carry some 3-pin to 2-pin adapters. A quick tip that I always use is to tape any adapters together. This will prevent them from accidentally disconnecting. When I travel to countries that are 220 volts, I bring power strips and extension cords that are the 2-pin European plugs. Most equipment that we are using, such as cameras, DVD burners, and computers, have the dual voltages built into the power supply. And that will conclude our RPR 180 literary practice test.